Hi people, welcome to Coding with Corgi. Today we're going to be starting with Unit 1.1. This is just an introduction to Java programming. I'm going to set him right here as we do some notes. So before we begin with the notes, I want you just to take a look at our what parts make up a computer and figure out what do you know about a computer? What things have you talked about or heard about that has to do with computers? Maybe it's certain apps that you know, etc. I just want you to jot that out and get you thinking in the mind. Take about 5 minutes to do that before we move on. So in 1613, that was the first time we've recorded this idea of a programmer or a computer. And this was originally just a job description. Oops. Working on using my tablet. Not very good at it yet. And actually, originally humans were the first computers, and women were actually the first computers. Haven't used this very well. Oops. Oh well. They're first computers. And when we think about the parts of the computer, there's a few parts that actually translated and were taken from humans and moved on to computers. So the first thing that you can think about is the CPU. So the CPU, central processing unit, is actually like what we have our brains, right? And humans would also use your brains to calculate stuff, but then they'd use their eyes, their ears, and their sensory organs, your senses. They would actually be like whatever you input. So this could be your keyboard, this could be your mice, your microphones, and in this case I have a camera as well. And of course your outputs would be whatever you process. So maybe the output would be like the computations that humans would do. Okay. So what is an algorithm? Take a few seconds to think about what have you heard in your old classes or from around that have talked about algorithms. What do you think algorithms are? And take a few seconds and then I'll type it out. So algorithms are simply a recipe or set of instructions for a computer to follow. And usually these are followed to produce a certain result. A wanted result. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. One thing that we might want a computer to do is take an input of some sort and print it out. So print it out on the screen. So maybe like your input is like a word. And you want it to be printed out on the screen. So one thing that would be good to do is write a few steps. Maybe the first step is we want to look for or wait for input. And then the second thing would be to take input and then print it out, not copy it out on screen. So that's a very simple set of instructions. That is our very simple algorithm. Computers take it and break it down into more complicated steps that you don't need to know right now. We just started focusing on what an algorithm is. Or maybe I want to draw a Pikachu. Maybe I want to draw a Pikachu head. Right? So how do we get a computer to do this? Well, the first thing we need to do is, like, maybe we can say draw a circle in center of page. And then you'd have to say something like, second is draw, I don't know, rounded triangles on top of circle. Okay, and then you'd go so on and so forth. You'll practice using this, but the main idea you need to be, this is important, the main idea you need to know is it has to be super specific, because as you might know already, and I'm going to say this many times, computers are dumb. So if you aren't very specific with them, they're going to take the most literal sense and it might not be right. So for example, maybe if we have our circle, the computer might say rounded triangles, what does that mean? And then it might draw something like this, or maybe it could draw something like this. Both are rounded triangles. So you need to know exactly where is it. Maybe it wants to draw many rounded triangles on top of the head, and you didn't specify where it is. So in class, or if you want to do it on your own, you're going to create an algorithm to draw Jojo. So Jojo right here is a little sleepy, so you can draw him like sleepy and a little annoyed that I just woke him up from his nap. Or you can draw some of the pictures I've put online. Does not matter. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Let me know through our Slack, etc., and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. But for now, thanks for signing in, and I'll see you later.